Hey everybody, just figured that it's been a long time since I've actually talked to you guys, and maybe you'd like to see my wonderful face. I would like to see yours if you want to get a hold of me on Google Contacts or any other way. Just hope you guys are doing good and that everything's not too confusing for you as far as all these teachers bombarding you with different kinds of things on different platforms. Hope you're healthy and so forth. Why I wanted to talk to you today, though, in person is because I spent a lot of time talking about why I do the things I do, and I haven't had a chance to do that. And I also feel like there's a need for a little bit of a adjustment to the way that we do class in order to make sure that everything's ready for the AP exam. So the first thing I'd like to do is talk to you about what it is that the AP people are going to be asking and how we're going to adjust to that. So I've got this. This is our plan. We're going to real quickly just talk about what I want to get done in class and how we're going to do that. So real quickly, the first thing and first priority is AP exam review. We're going to need to make sure that we're all ready for the test, however the test might look. They promised that on April 3rd we're going to get an update and a final plan as far as how it's going to go. A couple things about the test. I already know that I posted. Most of you know that they're talking about going to a 45-minute FRQ, free response question. But there's also been some rumors that might change a little bit on this April 3rd meeting. So just stay flexible. In order to make sure that we're good to go, I'm going to make sure that we cover review for units 1 through 3. Units 1 through 3 were covered before we left, and so I think we're in pretty good shape, but we need to start reviewing them. The way I would like to start reviewing them is I've already started that on Schoology. I've been adding FRQ questions that I've got available to me. We'll keep on doing those. I'm going to start making sure I give you good notes on how I feel you did on those questions, and so make sure you check the comments in the Schoology, once they're graded, because I'll try to give you some sort of hints on what I think was how that went. So we're going to continue that. In fact, I might accelerate this a little bit. I've been giving you maybe like 1 or 2 a week. At least that was the plan. I might step that up by just a little bit. The second thing that we'll do as far as getting ready for the exam is we need to start reviewing maybe just the material, multiple choice questions, things like that. I've got some material from old exams, from old practice packets. I'll start pushing those onto Schoology as well. Most of those will probably not be graded. They'll just be for you. But I'm going to start pushing those. When I was writing the lesson plans yesterday and thinking about how I was going to review this, I was going to AP Classroom to grab some questions, and I ran into this. So if you look at this, this basically tells me that I can push as many free response questions as I want to you of any source on any platform at home. The problem is that now all of my multiple choice questions are now not eligible for being used unless I use a lockdown browser. Well, okay, I can use a lockdown browser, but in order for me to push it, you have to download a lockdown browser. And of course, that's specific for every platform that you're on. So you're on an iPhone, you need a different download app. If you're on a Galaxy, if you're on a computer, and when you follow the link on the lockdown browser, it gives me the ability to send those or to give them to you. But that's a pain in the butt, to be honest with you. And so I'm going to avoid those questions as much as possible. That's going to limit some of our ability, of course, to review, but we're going to try to limit those. Here's my next concern. This secure exam warning that I just showed you makes me worry about the AP test. I worry that many of you are going to have to download that browser in order to take the test. So nothing to do right now, but just something to think about. Okay, so once we're going to AP review, FRQs, that's the big thing, some packets that probably will not be gradable, and so forth. Priority 2, we're going to try to close some holes in what might be on the test. Now, units 4 and 5 have been removed from the test according to what I've seen on AP Classroom and AP Central. But in looking at them, units 4 and 5, we just started this. We were talking about political socialization and public polling and ideologies and all those kinds of things before we left. We were just starting into 5 political parties. That's what I gave you online. And third-party politics, things like that. So we were actually involved in those things. So we're actually got quite a bit of this done. But here's what worries me. Congressional elections and electing the president. Units number 5.8 and 5.9. Those bother me because I think that they could be wrapped into previous units. And what I mean by that is, unit 2 is on this sort of like interaction among the branches, and it's all this presidential and legislative stuff, and I worry that there's some cross-referencing, that, for example, Congress, the Senate, and House of Representatives could have a question about how they get elected. That when you get to the president, the roles of the presidential power, maybe not so much, but somewhere in the presidency they could say, hey, you should know about the Electoral College. So I'm going to treat 5.8 and 5.9 as if they're going to be on the exam, and you should probably know those things anyway just because you're a good American citizen. So I'm concerned about these topics, and we're going to do those topics first, digitally, now that we're on, the internet. So we're going to try that. We're going to start there. Priority 3 then, fix my mistake there. Priority 3 then is basically, hey, we got ourselves a class on American government. You should know some things, and not knowing some of those items that are on this list, congressional elections, for example, but campaign finance and how the media affects things. Those are, important to understanding your government, and so I would like to cover those still. So after we're done with units 5, 9, and 10, to close these holes, we're going to go into 7 and 11. This, of course, would assume that we're not coming back to school face-to-face, which I don't know. Please don't assume anything, but if you gave me some odds, I'd probably lay some money on it. So I'm planning into the future. So units, chapter 7 and 11 on those groups we're going to do next, after 9 and 10, just so we can be responsible. So here's the plan. We're going to start reviewing units 1 through 3, and we're going to do that through FRQs, which I'm going to push to you quite often now, and please make sure you check those comments. Also, I'm going to give you some packets. They're not going to be very good. They're basically just to make sure that you are you can remember some of that material. Then we're going to work on some new material while we're doing the review, and we're going to start with 9 and 10 just because I think that we might see that stuff on an exam question. And then we're going to go 7 and 11 just to kind of finish out the year, right? So here's some assignment changes. Yesterday I posted some stuff because I was trying to work on some things and give you guys a heads up and all this kind of stuff, and basically, yeah, it didn't work out. So I told you on there that chapter 7 was going to be the next chapter. It is not. We are not going to do that. We're going to start with 9 and 10. 9 is probably not a complete chapter. 10 will be a complete chapter, but I'll make that clear on the plan. And I will post this document on the distance learning plan on Schoology so you can see that, but we are going to start with 9 and 10. So I will post this, but basically you have an FRQ that I've already pushed onto the Schoology, and then after that we're going to ask you to read chapters 9 and 10 and take the comprehension quiz like normal and that kind of stuff. that we'll do. I would love to have some kind of like final exam on political parties and on political ideologies and socialization. But without those multiple choice questions, it's probably not going to be as good as it was before. And so I will push something just to make sure that you got the basics and we can finish that unit. So expect that as well. So expect some kind of like final assessment, I'm going to call it, because test is kind of odd in these circumstances. So some sort of final assessment, and then we'll start with chapters 9 and 10 on some kind of comprehension quiz thing. Look for the FRQs, and then after that, we'll see what we can do. All right, guys. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're safe. I kind of miss seeing you guys and talking to you. If you have any questions, I've got some discussion boards that you can ask some questions, even if it's not about the subject of the discussion board. Please feel free. Also, you can find me on Google Hangouts. You can find me on Schoology. You can find me by email. You can find me by Remind. You just pick some way and do it. You've already wasted 11 minutes of your morning, so I'm not going to take any more of your time. Good luck. I'll talk to you soon.